Have it.
I beg to move that this House do now adjourn.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. Jim Shannon.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I usually have the graveyard shift down in Westminster Hall on a Thursday afternoon. I think this probably exceeds that from the point of view being of the time that we have. First of all, can I say it's a pleasure to have this debate. It's really important. Really pleased to see the Minister in her place, and she's got me asks, okay, so hopefully we can get those responses. And also, pleased to see the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland here as well. I'm going to speak, I'll try to focus, if I can, upon the pluses that we have in some of the questions, and then I have a number of questions I want to ask, and the Minister has them in advance, and hopefully we can make it a positive, half-glass full debate. And if we can, then that would be possible. Madam Deputy Speaker, a pleasure to see you in your place. It's not often we get the chance for us to share time together, but you have me whether you like it or not for the next half an hour, but thereabouts. But thank you. I'm so appreciative of this time in the House to highlight the needs of this sector in Northern Ireland. That's the manufacturing and engineering industry in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland has fast become a giant in aerospace. We have a skilled workforce, lower overheads and the perfect connectivity for business investment, and this is what we have and what we do. Not only do we have the manufacturing giant of Spirit, but we also have Wrightbus, Harnden Wolff, Thales, the list goes on. All of these are supplied with specialist parts by a plethora of skilled smaller engineering firms that dot throughout the province, and particularly in Strangford. And I must make it clear from the outset that when I talk about manufacturing today, about the industry, I don't just mean the big firms. I think of all the smaller firms that rely on this business, and the impact on the local economy is massive. Indeed, Invest A&I has highlighted that manufacturing accounts for some 11% of employment, over 15% of GVA, making it a key sector in the Northern Ireland economy. So when I underline a key sector, the importance can't be underlined enough. It is vital for Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is home to 5 companies with the SC21 Supply Chain Quality System Gold Award out of a total of 9 across the United Kingdom. Northern Ireland, again, and the Secretary of State will know this, kicking above and working above the standards that many have for the United Kingdom. More than any other UK region, 5 out of the 9, we offer a reliable, successful and competitive supply chain with expertise in key technologies. For automobiles, we are the world's leading region for the supply of tyre pressure monitoring systems and leading capability in the manufacture of complex aluminium castings, as well as key strengths in the production of composite vehicle bodies for leading sports car brands. We do much in Northern Ireland. World-class solutions in design, manufacture of mobile bulk processing and wet processing equipment. When you buy from Northern Ireland, you buy 60 years of leading the world in mobile bulk materials processing equipment. And we manufacture over 40% of the world's mobile crushing and screening equipment. Again, I want to say these things because Northern Ireland very often does lead the way. And it's always a privilege to come and tell the world about that, but also tell this chamber. The low-carbon sector employs more than 12,000 people and over 300 companies with an annual turnover in excess of £1.7 billion. Northern Ireland companies have the capability of providing a range of innovative products and services to address the specific needs of the various energy and water supply chains. The wastewater sector in Northern Ireland has a turnover of £1.1 billion in 2019, a GVA of £0.8 billion and 7,000 employees. Northern Ireland is one of the most diverse consumer goods sectors in the UK, offering a wide range of design and manufacturing-based companies. Over 4,800 people are employed in the sector. Our companies have developed manufacturing capabilities, design or technology-led products, and continue to remain competitive in a global marketplace. Whilst this has been the foundation for the big picture of manufacturing in Northern Ireland, this is also to highlight that we are yet to meet our potential, and this supply, this simply cannot be met without greater investment, knowing that for every penny spent, the local economy reaps the benefit in pounds. With this in mind, I've been contacted and met with the GMB and Unite unions representing Spirit Airlines excuse me, who have indicated the support that is needed in the sale of business transition. Spirit Air Systems facilities in Northern Ireland produce for a variety of aircraft manufacturers, with approximately 45% of production is on the wing and fuselage for Airbus, and this work employs excuse me, approximately 33. Sorry.
For Strangford, but I beg to move that this House do now adjourn.
Order, that this House do now adjourn. Jim Shannon.
Thank you. I knew what was happening anyway. I just hadn't looked up, but there we are. Thank you very much, and a pleasure to continue this debate. I referred to the fuselage of Airbus, and the work employs 33% of the 3,700 labour force. I also said that the labour intensive equates to some 47% of the production. This is for Bombardier, small aircraft manufacturers such as Honda Jet, Rolls-Royce. The remaining work for engineering, for IT, HR, QA, etc. equates to approximately 20%. Boeing's interest, and it's really important that we focus, if we can, in the House at this moment in time upon where we are. Boeing's interest in purchasing Spirit is primarily in consolidating its own supply chain to ensure quality control. They have no interest in retaining production for their primary competitor, Airbus. Currently, Airbus' intention is to take control of Spirit operations, which are in its own supply chain, with no interest in production for other aircraft producers. The further challenge is posed, I believe, by the fact that the operations across Spirit sites are integrated, with workers employed across different projects for different clients. So even if a division of activities in separate ownership is possible, it's unclear whether it could sustain operations, and this is one of our concerns, and this is why I look to the Minister and to the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland as well for some help in this issue. The feeling, and I believe the opinion of the unions, is that the facilities must remain under one owner as the only option that guarantees and safeguards production. The retention of highly skilled jobs in Northern Ireland. Airbus already operate a model that makes this possible, i.e. integration into the Airbus Atlantic Group. This includes production sites across 5 different countries globally. That gives you that strength, that flexibility, but also that strength of across continents, which it does very clearly, and which already operates contracts with a variety of partners, including, again, Bombardier, Dassault Aviation and ATR. The Northern Ireland facilities are critical to Airbus, and I have to say for their future growth. So Belfast is a vital supplier to the A220, and they cannot risk any disruption to production by taking control of the entire site. So a single owner could avoid the outsourcing problems that have plagued Boeing, and disruption could also make them liable for hefty financial penalties. I have to underline, it's the workers in Belfast, those who have given many years of service, their blood, sweat and tears, I would say, and who were the innovators and the builders of the Airbus project. The unique expertise in Belfast cannot be easily replicated elsewhere. It's unique to us in Belfast, and I believe it is important that it's retained as such. According to reports, Spirit Belfast will be profitable if production increased to the plan for 14 per month in 2025. The non-Airbus work at Spirit Belfast could be viewed as a bonus for Airbus, not a burden. Spirit Belfast has also recently signed 2 promising new contracts with successful aerospace companies that are likely to improve the plant's profitability. Bombardier, which represents some 30% and growing of the work done at Spirit Belfast, also has been a customer for 35 years. So we have a continuity here very clearly on the base and amongst the workforce as well. All local political representatives, all the parties across all of Northern Ireland and Spirit Management, DBT, agree with our demand for one owner solution as the best outcome for all workers and for the aerospace sector and the wider Northern Ireland economy. However, disappointingly, to date, I say this with respect. I always say it with respect because that's how the person I am. Okay, the CEOs of all the respective companies and the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland have failed to engage with our senior stewards or the workforce. Now, if that has changed, I'll be more than happy. But whenever I met them a few weeks ago, that hadn't happened. They appear to be letting thousands of jobs and livelihoods be left at risk or dictated to by the market. This position is not acceptable, nor is the best interest of the 3,700 workers impacted. So I believe it is imperative, Minister, it's imperative that the next course of action is to maintain and future-proof the highly skilled jobs and the approximately 7,400 jobs intertwined via the supply chain, via the Northern Ireland economy. This will result in a continuation of a vibrant and historic aerospace sector in Northern Ireland, and we need the workforce needs the support of government here centrally. Now, I'm quite sure that the Minister and the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland will reassure us shortly. Why is it important? Spirit Aerostructures is the linchpin of the economy in the Greater Belfast area. The latest NISRA statistical analysis, Structure of the Northern Ireland Economy 2020, published in September 2024, estimates that for every job sustained in the non-automobile vehicle production sector in Northern Ireland, almost exactly a further 2 jobs in the broader economy. So every one there's 2 out there. So we get 3 for the price of 1 in local services, and in the supply chain are sustained through indirect and induced employment. Considering the high value added nature of Spirit's activities with every developed local supply chain, both regionally and across Britain and Ireland, this ratio was even higher in this case. But as an estimate, Madam Deputy Speaker, the 3,700 jobs at the company's sites in Northern Ireland sustain a further 7,400 indirect and induced jobs in the wider service economy and in the supply chain, based on the latest NISRA Type 2 employment multiplier for manufacture of other transport equipment. The data is clear and we need the help. So the crux of the request. Any threat to Spirit's operations in Northern Ireland therefore translates to a potential threat to more than 11,000 jobs in the wider economy. Such a threat would be devastating for the Northern Ireland economy, as the wages bill for the Spirit workforce alone amounts to approximately £250 million a year. It's not small fry. It means a lot to the economy of Northern Ireland, and those jobs is also the skill factor of those jobs as well, contributing to a large percentage of the region's total economic consumption. The total expenditure of the company is estimated to be at least £600 million a year. The loss of this productive activity will have a huge impact on the Northern Ireland economy. So we're looking at something that's key, something that's vital, something that's really, really important. Based on the latest 2024 NISRA estimate of a Type 2 economic multiplier for the manufacture of other transport equipment, a reduction of £600 million in demand would reduce Northern Ireland's gross value added by £1.4 billion. That is more than the 3% of the region's total annual economic output. And this, I believe, illustrates the vital importance of this sector. I underline Spirit's production is also a critical element of Northern Ireland's heavy industrial base and a key driver for exports, having vital importance to the realisation of any regional manufacturing or industrial strategy that may be agreed at the Stormont Executive. These jobs represent some of the best employment opportunities for individuals who come from the working class areas of Belfast and the wider community. I know the Secretary of State will know this, I know that the Minister knows this, I know those of us here in the House and you, Madam Deputy Speaker, as well will be aware of it. The cross-community employment in the sites benefits all working class areas, with the jobs created having a profound impact in underpinning the transition away from a conflictual society. I know the Secretary of State is committed to that. I want that in the society that I want to see for the future, and this is part of how we do that. You give people jobs and opportunity. You do that across the community, and if you do that, then you help the community to heal. You help the community to move forward, and I think that's something that I certainly would like to see. The youth employment opportunities, the employment and the opportunity for employment in the aerospace sector offers an attractive opportunity for young workers from all communities who are seeking to improve their lives. And I had Christmas, just before Christmas, a member for East Belfast myself attended a visit to Talis factory, and I was really impressed at their commitment to apprentices and the opportunities, and the fact that they're helping the apprentices to earn a wage which is compatible, number one, but also when it comes to the fees for their students, that they're able to look after those and give them people that long, because they just don't want an apprentice. They want the apprentice all their life, working life in that factory. So I'm concerned that any loss of these skilled jobs would cast a very dark cloud over those communities in Northern Ireland which are still emerging and transitioning from the legacy of conflict at a critical juncture in the history of Northern Ireland. The Secretary of State is committed to finding that way forward. I don't doubt that ever. So this is part of the healing process, a part of the moving forward of bringing this together. I would ask again the Minister, with all gentleness, ask the Minister to get involved, if I can use those terminologies, please. It's not meant in any aggressive firm or notion whatsoever. And I seek the Secretary of State as well in the Northern Ireland office to expend every effort to advance a one owner entity and to ensure that whoever buys Spirit Air Systems operations in Northern Ireland, that the vital social and economic importance of the jobs it provides is fully recognised and safeguarded. That, I believe, is in the interest of all stakeholders, this place here, this great mother of parliaments of this great United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and must be an overriding priority in coming weeks and months. So I just want, Madam Speaker, to thank yourself and the Minister and the Secretary of State and all those who have attended tonight, and the Shadow Minister as well, who has a deep interest in Northern Ireland. I speak as the MP for Strangford, but also I speak on behalf of the businesses and the homes involved, because it's not just about the jobs there, it's about every person who works, those 11,000 people who have a home, a mortgage, a family, who contribute to Northern Ireland and want to contribute positively in the way forward. And they're supported by the manufacturing industry, who need the involvement of government to secure a good deal. It's really important. So now's the time to do so, with a new US administration and a desire to enhance relations between our nations. I believe now is a time for action, and I look with the greatest respect and also with anticipation to what the Minister will tell us. Thank you so much.
Minister Sarah Jones.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and can I thank the Honourable Member for Strangford for bringing this debate today in his usual style of being persistent but gently persistent in his style, and can I thank him for his birthday message that he sent to me back in December. I think he is probably the only Member of Parliament who sends birthday messages to every MP, and the care with which he treats all of us is an example to us all. I have a list here of all of the good things about Northern Ireland manufacturing. The Honourable Member has listed most of them already, and for the benefit of the House, I won't repeat what the Honourable Member has already made and the case that he's made. I just wanted to set out a few things about the government's approach here. The first thing I would say is that the Secretary of State and I and others were in Northern Ireland when we were able to announce a successful outcome on the Harland and Wolff deal. And what I would say is that when we first came to power last July, it was one of the early industries in distress that came across our desks, and we were faced with the possible collapse of Harland and Wolff. And there was absolutely no way we could allow that to happen. And we all worked very hard to make sure there was a deal that worked both for the MOD in terms of the FSS contract, for Navantia in terms of their commercial interests and what they could do, and for the workers in Harland and Wolff. But we didn't do that because we're good people and we didn't want to see job losses, although those things are true. We did that because Harland and Wolff is an incredibly important strategic site for us, the 4 sites, I should say, and I was in Methil, as it happens yesterday, the Harland and Wolff site in Fife, where there's a huge future there for offshore wind. And for building part of that future. And I think we look sometimes through misty eyes at what's happened in the past in Belfast and what Harland and Wolff used to be. the way we see it is let's look at what it can be in the future and how important it is. So, of course, it's important for people to have good, well-paid jobs, but it's actually the talent that they bring, the expertise that they bring, that you see in spades in Northern Ireland every time I go. The kind of enthusiasm, the talent, the training, the apprenticeship programmes that mean we can build the future that we want to see. And, you know, of course, they're going to be very important when it comes to our defence. But, you know, the whole ecosystem that the Honourable Gentleman talked about is very important for our future. So what's the support that government can bring to make sure people can continue to flourish and thrive? I'd say a few things. One is we want to work collaboratively across the nations in a way that is productive and useful. I chair the Business and Industry Interministerial Group, which is the Department of Business and Trade sort of group that we meet, and we've had our first meeting, and his colleagues in Northern Ireland and Wales and Scotland were there too, and I think that is really important. What can we do collectively that helps all of our nations? The second thing is setting the structure that government, I think, should do through the industrial strategy and setting that direction of travel that industry can understand. And the Honourable Gentleman will know we're developing the industrial strategy. We have 8 growth sectors where we think there's the biggest capacity for growth. And we're working on sort of honing down what the subsectors are within that. But advanced manufacturing, defence, green energy, these are all key areas that we have identified as opportunities for growth. And I think Northern Ireland has such a role to play in that space. So that architecture that will provide the long-term stability over the next 5-10 years, I think will be really important and helpful. The third sort of bit of architecture is our universities, our colleges, and the catapults and all the other networks, Innovate UK, all the other networks that help us to come up with new ideas and new businesses. And I met with the catapult chief execs this morning, actually, and they were telling me about, and were keen that I mentioned in this debate because I said I was coming here, you know, some of the innovative work that's going on through the catapults in Northern Ireland. They're working with Invest NI on hydrogen, which will accelerate supply chains for the hydrogen economy. They're working with Queen's to ensure Northern Ireland's manufacturing businesses can connect into national capabilities and help address future challenges. So there's a lot of good work going on there. The next bit of architecture is how we help all those businesses in Northern Ireland export. And I was in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago alongside Invest NI, who were there with some of the Northern Ireland businesses, making doing some good deals, I hope, and taking the huge talent that they have. There was a business, and I'm going to get this wrong, and maybe I'll have to tell Hansard to correct it, but there was a business that makes kit that washes sand, that has washed 99% of the sand that needs to be washed. I'm going to stop trying to go into detail. In Qatar, that it was a very small business in Northern Ireland that was basically providing a service to Qatar that nobody else could do, and it was quite extraordinary. And of course, that's the talent that we have coming out of Northern Ireland, and we want to work with Invest NI on that. So we need to get that right architecture in place to make sure the future is bright. I think what the Honourable Gentleman wants me to talk about as well is how we protect what we have. And of course he made a very good case in terms of Spirit and how actually it's not just the jobs there, but it's the supply chain and all of the interactions. Indeed he used some statistics that were very interesting in terms of the impact that potential closures could have. And look, what I would say in this space is firstly, we all want the same thing. Secondly, just to correct the record, I think the Secretary of State has met with the trade unions to talk about this. I was at Spirit on the 19th of December and talked about the future. I have talked to all of the interested parties in this space. And we are collectively as a government trying to do what we can. The Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, the Secretary of State in DBT. It is a complex situation, as we know, and there are sort of layers of complexity in terms of who does what. we are trying to do what we can. Government, can only do what it can in terms of trying to bring people together, trying to come up with solutions, trying to talk to those interested parties. But we are, I think, pushing in the right direction. And although I can't click my finger and have the answer that the honourable gentleman wants this evening, I can give him that commitment that we are doing what we can, and if he has suggestions as to further, meetings we could hold, things we could do, then of course I would be very happy to do that. But I am having conversations regularly on the Short Brothers and Spirit Aerosystems, as you would expect, talking to Aerospace, talking to Boeing, talking to all of the interested parties. Yes, I'll give you.
Can I thank the Minister and the Secretary of State as well. I'm very happy that the meeting has taken place. Whenever I met them 3 weeks ago, it would have been, maybe even 4 weeks ago it might have been, they had informed me that the meeting hadn't taken place. I'm glad that it has, because there's a better... Every time, Madam Deputy Speaker, when it comes to moving forward, as it is in Northern Ireland, the things really only ever happen whenever we all work together, and that's really important. Is it possible, maybe, Minister, and my request, and thank you for the record to yourself and the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland for what you have done in relation to Harland and Wolff. We appreciate that. I know it was complex, it was difficult. There was things that you couldn't say when we asked in the past, and things were happening behind back. I suppose maybe the question, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to ask the Minister is, could those contacts that have been had with Spirit and with the Unite and the GMB unions, could that be something that maybe the Minister could be involved with the Secretary of State again? That contact is important. Bring them with you. If you bring people with you, you always win the case.
Can I thank the honourable gentleman for that intervention? And of course, I'm always happy to meet with the trade unions. I think I spend more time with trade unions in government than I did in opposition. We're forever meeting, usually in very happy circumstances where we're all trying to push to the same end in terms of building industry and creating growth. So always happy to meet and to do that. And, of course, it's not just ministers who are in conversation, I should say, it's the officials as well who are talking to all of the interested parties just to see what can be done. But it is a challenge, and I'm not going to deny that. I think the two-pronged approach of trying to make sure we have the architecture to build our manufacturing and build our industry in Northern Ireland, alongside trying to see if we can find a solution when it comes to Spirit is the right thing to do. We shouldn't ignore one or the other. We need to try with both, and that's what we will be doing. And of course, encouraging new investment into Northern Ireland is also part of the picture. And the investment summit that this government has done, the work that is going in terms of the Office for Investment, Minister for Investment, really focusing on the strengths of a region, a strength of an area, a strength of a nation. In this case, this wonderful ecosystem we have in terms of manufacturing that we should be able to build on, and should be a very attractive proposition to investors who want to come in and expand. I could talk more, but I won't, about some of the other examples of good practice and exciting things that are happening in Northern Ireland, but I don't want to keep the House longer than is necessary, and the Honourable Member has made the case very well, and I would agree with everything that he has said. What I would end on saying is that every time he wants to do an intervention. Of course.
Madam Deputy Speaker, and I thank the Minister very much. I suppose the thrust of all the good things, by the way, and we don't deny them, we welcome them because they are good things, is to have the aerospace, the sale as one entity. And I think on behalf of the workers, the question I would really ask the Minister, especially would the Minister commit to looking to see what more can be done for the Spirit workers? They're skilled, they're experienced, they're critical to Northern Ireland's manufacturing base, and that request I have to the Minister is that one. Sell it as an entity and one, and keep the workers. Thank you so much.
Minister.
Thank you for that intervention. He's looking on his phone. I don't know if the unions are kind of messaging him while we're having a debate. It's very effective. Of course, I will do whatever is useful in this space. There are commercial decisions that are being made here that we can't influence all of them, but we can do what we can, and we are trying. And of course, the very skilled workforce that we have is something that we don't want to lose. And I'm very happy to work with and meet with and walk alongside our colleagues who are working there, of course. So I would just conclude this my contribution, Madam Deputy Speaker, by thanking the member for bringing this debate. It is always a joy to talk about what's happening in Northern Ireland. It's even more of a joy to be there and see it, and I look forward to doing that again soon. Thank you very much.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. As many as are of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the ayes have it. Order, order.